The defense expected to begin their case.
Relax.
This is May 6, 2019.
Please don't shoot me.
I'm not going to shoot you. Put your hands on the dash.
The passenger was unresponsive and non-compliant to my commands.
And who is that?
Mr. Floyd.
Open your mouth. Spit out what you got. Spit out what you got. I'm going to tase you.
Additional body camera footage admissible.
320, we're close for.
Park Police Officer Peter Chang, the 5th officer on the scene.
George Floyd.
A lot of yelling across the street.
Did that cause you any concern?
Concern for the officer's safety, yes.
Right there sitting on the sidewalk, he was pretty peaceful.
I said, Floyd, the police is here. It's about the $20 bill wasn't real. And we looked to the right, and he had the police. He tapped on the window.
Let me see your hands. Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
I'm sorry.
Let me see your other hand. Both hands.
Good evening. I'm Mike Galanos, and you're watching HLN's breaking news coverage of the death of George Floyd. Derek Chauvin on trial. All new this hour. A major flip from a defense witness, revealing new body cam footage is shown in court, and a friend of George Floyd, who was with him the day he died, testifies about his initial interaction with police. But first, here are the headlines. First up, former Minneapolis police officer Scott Creighton, he testified about arresting George Floyd in May of 2019. The jury saw the arrest on body cam played in court. Creighton testified that he told Floyd to put his hands on the dashboard of the car. But when he didn't comply with the officer's order, he forcibly put Floyd's hand on that dash. In the video, George Floyd can be heard saying he didn't want to get shot. Also the accusation, he took drugs. Next, Officer Peter Chang and his body cam during Floyd's 2020 arrest. The footage showed him around the corner from the location where George Floyd was being taken into custody. Chang told the court that the crowd of bystanders that had gathered on that sidewalk became very aggressive. In cross-examination, though, he admitted he couldn't see what was going on. Also, Shawanda Hill, a friend of George Floyd, testified that George Floyd offered her a ride from Cup Foods the day he died. She testified that George Floyd was happy, normal, talking, alert when she saw him. Here's the rest of her testimony.
Just have a few questions about May 25th of 2020. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
On that date, were you at the Cup Foods located in Minneapolis?
Yes. Yes.
Did you run into anybody that you knew while you were there?
Yes, George Floyd.
And while you were at the Cup Foods, or in the Cup Foods, did you have an opportunity to observe Mr. Floyd's behavior, demeanor, things of that nature?
Yes.
How would you describe Mr. Floyd's behavior while inside of the Cup Foods?
Happy, normal, talking, alert.
Okay. Did he offer to give you a ride?
Yes.
A ride to wherever it was you were going? And so did you go to his car with him?
Yes.
Once you got into the car, did you observe any changes to his demeanor?
When we were in the car for the first like 8 minutes, we were talking and, you know what I'm saying, hugging, you know what I'm saying, talking about what we were about to do. And then I got a phone call. And so I was on the phone for the rest of the time until the little boys came to the truck, to the car. He fell asleep at that time.
So at some point during the course of the time that you were in the car with Mr. Floyd Floyd suddenly fell asleep,
yes.
Right? And the phone call you received, was that from your daughter?
Yes.
And so you were talking with your daughter during that time?
Yes.
And you described, would you agree that at some point, you said some little boys, are those employees of the
yes.
store?
Sorry, yes.
That's okay. The store employees came and approached the car, correct?
Yes.
And at that point, Mr. Floyd suddenly fell asleep?
He was already asleep.
He was already sleeping?
Yes. When they came to the car. And when they came there, I tried to wake him up. They tried to wake him up. I tried to wake him up over and over. And his friend tried to wake him up, and he woke up. Then he'll say something. He made a little gesture, you know, and nodded back off.
Okay.
He did that a couple times.
Was that a kind of a sudden change from how you observed him in the store to the car?
Yes, but he already told me in the store he was tired because he had been working.
There is an objection.
Hold on. Objection, grounds?
Leading, yes, the answer is stricken.
Overruled.
And so at some point, did the store clerks leave the side of the car?
Yes, I told him that I would wake him up and send him in there because I didn't have the money on me. I used my money. So.
Okay. And did you continue to try to rouse
Yes.
Mr. Floyd?
Wait till he finishes the question so that we don't overlap. Okay? Because the court reporter is taking everything down. It's really hard to
The overlap.
Okay.
Okay? Thanks.
Thank you. So did you continue to try to awaken Mr. Floyd?
Yes, I tried a couple times, but then, you know, I just let it go for a minute because I was back on the phone and
All right.
you want to hear the rest of it?
And did the store clerks come back to the car a second time?
No.
And were you, at some point, the police officers approached the car?
Yes.
And Mr. Floyd was aroused by the police?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Rank.
Good morning, Ms. Hill. I just have a couple of follow-up questions for you, okay?
Yes.
So during the period that you were with Mr. Floyd in the store, he was, you said he was alert,
Yes.
friendly,
Yes.
talkative,
Happy talking. Yes.
and
Laugh, hugging.
you know, and when you went out to the store, he walked by himself out to the store.
Yes.
In fact, did a little dance as he went out to the
Yes.
car. We just have to make sure that you wait
Yes.
till the question's done so we aren't talking over each other, okay? I know it's a hard habit to break, but we just have to be careful with that, okay? And when you got back to the car, at some point he nodded off.
Yes.
But you were able to wake him, correct?
Yes.
And talk to him.
Yes. But he wasn't that coherent at the times.
He was just awakening.
Yes.
And nodded off again.
Yes.
And at some point, the police officers walked up, correct? Said yes.
Yes.
And then he, well, you woke him up when the police officers walked up, correct?
Yes.
And so then he was awake.
Yes. You just want me to say yes or no? Explain what do you want me to do?
Well,
I
explain.
want to explain. Okay, thank you. So when I tried to wake him up, he woke up the second time. I said, Floyd, the police is here. It's about the $20 bill wasn't real. I kept saying, baby, get up. The police was out. So he looked, and we looked to the right, and he had the police. He tapped on the window with a flashlight. And I'm like, Floyd. And so he turned back around again. He's like, what? And I was like, baby, that's the police. Open the door, roll down the window, whatever he told me to do. So he looked back, and when he seen the man had the gun at the window when we looked back to him. So he instantly grabbed the wheel, and he was like, please don't kill me. Please don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. What did I do? Just tell me what I did. Please don't kill me. Please don't shoot me. And I'm like, Floyd, baby, it's not. You said explain. I'm trying to explain what state he was in, sir.
I did. And I have to ask some questions. So I'm sorry to cut you off. I really am.
So
But I want to go back and just cover one thing quick, because where were you sitting in the vehicle?
in the back right passenger seat.
Okay. And so when officers came,
Back passenger seat.
were there two officers that came to the vehicle?
Yes.
So one came to the passenger side and one to the driver's side?
Yes.
So initially you saw one officer to your right on the passenger side, correct?
No, I was up like I'm trying to wake him up, so I'm in the middle, like at the time, when the police were there. That's how I was able to see him too, just we both looked at the same time.
And when he was, during this time period, coming out from Cup Foods and being in the vehicle, did he complain of shortness of breath at all?
No.
Did he complain of chest pains at all?
No.
And other than being sleepy or nodding off a little bit, did he seem abnormal to you in any way?
Not at all.
And did he seem startled when the officer pulled a gun on him?
Very.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
So again, that's Shawanda Hill. She's with George Floyd the day he died. Why the defense want her on the stand? To talk about him falling asleep, forwarding their theory of drug use. But they started their case with this footage right here. We're going to look at 2 body cam footage. An arrest here. The defense theory is it shows a history of George Floyd's drug use. Also another arrest showing an angry crowd. Is the defense winning with their arguments? We'll talk about it.